There are legends that whisper in the dark. Stories so chilling, so terrifying, that even speaking their names is forbidden. Among the Navajo people of the American Southwest, one of those legends still lingers. A legend of witches, of shapeshifters, of beings who walk in the skin of animals. They are feared. They are hated. They are called the Skinwalkers. Before we dive into this terrifying story, welcome to Voices of the Earth. If you love ancient mysteries, forgotten legends, and stories that walk the line between history and the supernatural, make sure to subscribe. Click the like button, ring the notification bell, and share this video with someone who loves chilling tales. Your support helps us keep these voices alive. Now, let us enter the shadows of the desert, where the Skinwalker waits. A forbidden word. Among the Navajo, even saying the word Skinwalker is taboo. It is believed that to speak of them is to invite them. That words carry power. That to name the Skinwalker is to call its attention. This is not just fear. It is survival. Because in Navajo tradition, the Skinwalker is not myth. It is real. What is a Skinwalker? In Navajo language, they are called Ye Nald Lushiai. It means, with it, he goes on all fours. The phrase describes what they do. They walk. They run. They hunt on all fours. Like wolves. Like coyotes. Like bears. Like owls. A Skinwalker is believed to be a witch. A man or woman who has gained dark power. Power to change shape. Power to take on the body of an animal. But always with one purpose. To harm. The path of darkness. To become a Skinwalker, it is said, one must break the deepest cultural taboos. Murder. Sacrilege. Betrayal of family. Only then does one gain the curse and the power of shape-shifting. Unlike healers, who use ceremonies to help their people, Skinwalkers use ceremonies of corruption. They twist sacred rituals. They pervert medicine. They walk a path of shadows. The desert at night. The American Southwest is vast. Empty deserts. Lonely mesas. Silent canyons. At night, the land transforms. Every sound echoes. Every shadow moves. It is here, in this landscape, that stories of Skinwalkers are told. Hunters speak of animals that walk strangely. Coyotes with human eyes. Owls that speak in human voices. Figures running on all fours, faster than any human should. And when people hear their names called in the dark, in the voice of a loved one, they know a Skinwalker is near. A culture of silence. Many Navajo elders will not discuss Skinwalkers openly. The fear runs too deep. Even anthropologists have struggled to record the stories, because witnesses refuse to speak. Some will only whisper. Some refuse completely. For them, silence is protection. To tell the story is to risk being heard, to risk being found. And so, the legend lives in secrecy, carried in whispers, carried in fear. To understand the terror of the Skinwalker, we must understand the curse. For in Navajo belief, no one is born a Skinwalker. They are made. They are created through choice, through terrible, horrifying choice. Breaking the sacred. To gain the power of the Skinwalker, one must break the deepest taboos. Not small crimes, not simple mistakes, but acts so vile they destroy the soul. The stories say a person must take the life of someone close. A brother, a sister, a parent. Only by committing such betrayal does one open the door to darkness. This act tears the person away from community, away from kinship, away from humanity itself. From that moment, they walk the path of the Skinwalker. The transformation. Once cursed, the Skinwalker gains the power to change form. They wear the skin of animals: wolf, coyote, bear, owl. With the skin they take the shape. They run faster. They see sharper. They hunt with the senses of beast and man. But something always betrays them: their eyes. The eyes remain human, cold, empty, soulless. When you look into the eyes of the animal and you see a human staring back, you are staring into the face of a Skinwalker. Powers of darkness. The legends say Skinwalkers hold many powers. They can run impossible distances. They can leap across mesas and cliffs. They can read minds. They can mimic voices. They can whistle at night. And if you answer, they will come. They can take the shape of those you love. They can appear as your relative, your child, your friend. But when they speak, something is wrong. Their voice is hollow. Their words are twisted. And you know too late that it is no longer the person you love. It is the Skinwalker, tools of fear. Skinwalkers are also said to use tools of witchcraft: bone dust that can poison, charms made from the remains of the dead, bundles of cursed feathers, fur, and hair. They plant these in homes. They place them near doorways. And sickness follows. Misfortune follows. Death follows. For the Skinwalker does not merely kill with teeth and claws. They kill with fear. They kill with curses. The hunters. There are stories of hunters who have encountered Skinwalkers. They speak of coyotes that follow them at night. Not attacking, not fleeing, just watching. Always watching. When shot, the animal vanishes. But the next day, a neighbor appears with the same wound. Cut, a limp, a scar. Proof, they say, that the neighbor is the Skinwalker in disguise. The curse without end. Once someone becomes a Skinwalker, there is no escape, no return. They are trapped in the curse forever. And they hunger. They hunger for fear. They hunger for death. They hunger for power. In Navajo belief, the Skinwalker is not just a monster. It is the embodiment of evil. A human soul that chose the darkest path, and in doing so, lost everything that made it human: silence and survival. This is why the Navajo do not speak of them lightly. Because Skinwalkers are not ancient myths of the past. They are believed to still walk the earth, hidden, hunting, waiting. And the less you say, the safer you are. The more you speak, the closer they come. This silence is survival. And it is why even today, the Skinwalker remains one of the most feared figures in Native American legend. Legends are powerful, but what makes the Skinwalker so terrifying is that the stories are not just myths of the past. They are told today, by hunters, by families, by people who swear they have seen something they cannot explain. The coyote that watched. One of the most common stories is of the coyote. A traveler drives down a lonely desert road at night. Headlights cut through the darkness. And then eyes. Glowing eyes on the roadside. A coyote appears, trotting alongside the car. It keeps pace, mile after mile, faster than any animal should. When the driver speeds up, the coyote speeds up. When the car slows, the coyote slows. And then, for one brief second, the driver looks into its eyes. They are not animal eyes. They are human, cold, empty, watching. And then the coyote is gone, vanished into the night. The voices in the dark. Families tell of nights when they hear voices outside their homes. A knock at the door. A cry for help. The voice of a child. The voice of a relative. But when they open the door, no one is there. Only the wind. Only silence. And when they close the door again, the voice returns, calling, pleading, and they know it is not their family. It is not a child. It is the Skinwalker, mimicking, imitating, luring them out. The hunter's shot. Hunters tell of animals that do not die. One man shoots a wolf with his rifle. The bullet strikes true. The wolf cries out and runs. The next day, he sees a man in the village. The man has the same wound, the same limp, the same scar where the bullet entered. The hunter knows then what he shot. It was no wolf. It was a Skinwalker, the speed of shadows. Others speak of figures that run faster than any human should. On all fours, across mesas, through canyons, keeping pace with cars on highways, always at the edge of sight, never fully seen, only glimpsed, but enough to know something unnatural moves in the desert. The owl that speaks. Owls are sacred to many tribes, but in Skinwalker stories, the owl becomes a sign of fear. A family hears an owl outside their home. But when it hoots, it is not the sound of a bird. It is words. Words in the voice of a human, calling their names, asking to be let inside. No one opens the door, because everyone knows what waits outside. The ranch of fear. In modern times, the Skinwalker legend became tied to a place in Utah, a ranch where strange lights, cattle mutilations, and sightings of strange creatures were reported. Some believe the land itself is cursed. Others believe Skinwalkers roam there freely. Researchers came, cameras were set, but the mystery only deepened. Because the Skinwalker does not like to be caught. It does not like to be seen. And when you seek it, it hides. But when you ignore it, it comes. Fear that lingers. Even today, among the Navajo, stories are whispered. Stories of neighbors who walk strangely at night, of animals with human eyes, of voices in the dark that sound too much like someone you love. The fear is alive. The belief is alive. And the Skinwalker remains, not as an ancient myth, but as a living terror. The most chilling thing about the Skinwalker is not just the stories. It is the silence. Because among the Navajo, even today, the word is dangerous. To speak of the Skinwalker is to risk its attention. And no one wants that. A name that invites. Words have power. Names carry weight. And in Navajo belief, to name the Skinwalker is to call it. The act of speaking is an act of summoning. This is why many Navajo refuse to discuss it openly. Not with outsiders. Not even with their own families. Because speaking is dangerous. And silence is survival. The taboo. Anthropologists who have tried to record Skinwalker stories have faced resistance. Some elders refuse to talk. Others whisper, glancing over their shoulders as if being watched. Even the youngest grow up knowing. You do not joke about Skinwalkers. You do not laugh about them. You do not speak of them at night, because the night belongs to them. Fear as protection. This fear is not weakness. It is protection. It is a cultural shield against forces too dark to confront. By keeping silent, the community stays safe. By refusing to spread the stories, they limit the Skinwalkers' reach. Silence becomes a weapon against evil. Suspicion among neighbors. But silence also brings suspicion. Because if Skinwalkers are witches, then anyone could be one. The quiet neighbor. The healer who seems too powerful. The stranger who walks at night. This suspicion breeds fear, and sometimes even violence. Accusations can tear families apart. Communities are haunted not just by the idea of the Skinwalker, but by the possibility that someone among them has already turned. A legend that lives. For outsiders, the Skinwalker is a fascinating story. For the Navajo, it is a real danger. It is not folklore to be laughed at. It is not entertainment. It is a presence, a force, something that walks in the desert at night. And the less you speak of it, the better. Why the fear remains. The fear of the Skinwalker endures because it touches something universal. The fear of betrayal. The fear of the familiar turning strange. The fear that the person you trust, the person you love, is no longer who they seem to be. That behind the eyes of someone close is something cold, something inhuman, something wearing a mask. This is why the Skinwalker still haunts. Because the fear is not only Navajo, it is human. Whispers in the present. Today, even with modern technology, the legend has not died. It spreads on social media. It appears in movies and shows. But among the Navajo, it is still spoken of with caution. Still whispered. Still avoided. The old rules remain. Do not speak the name lightly. Do not tell the stories carelessly, because to do so may bring them closer. Every mystery invites explanations, and the Skinwalker is no different. Across history, researchers, storytellers, and skeptics have tried to answer the question, what is the Skinwalker? Is it only legend? Or is there something more? The psychological view. Some say the Skinwalker is fear itself. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the dark. Fear of betrayal. The desert at night is vast and empty. A shadow moves. An animal cries. A voice echoes strangely. And the human mind fills in the rest. It sees what it fears most. It imagines a creature half human, half beast. In this way, the Skinwalker may be a mirror of the mind, a projection of terror into the world. The historical view. Others see the Skinwalker as a product of history. For the Navajo, witchcraft is not fantasy. It is part of their worldview. Good medicine exists. So does bad medicine. Healers bring balance. Witches bring destruction. The Skinwalker fits this duality. It embodies the worst of humanity. A warning of what happens when one chooses power over community. In this sense, the Skinwalker is a symbol. A story to explain evil. A story to keep people safe from betrayal. The supernatural view. But for many, the Skinwalker is not metaphor. It is real, not an illusion, not a symbol, a being of flesh and spirit, a witch who has mastered the dark arts, a shapeshifter who walks the desert even today. And for those who believe, there is no doubt. The Skinwalker exists because they have seen it, because they have heard it, because they have lived with its fear. The hybrid view. Some theories combine the natural and the supernatural. Perhaps Skinwalkers are real people, outcasts, criminals, witches practicing forbidden rituals. But over time, stories grew. Facts blended with fear. The ordinary became extraordinary, and the Skinwalker legend was born. In this view, the Skinwalker is both real and imagined. Real people, wrapped in supernatural belief. Why the legend endures. Whatever the explanation, one truth remains. The Skinwalker endures because it speaks to something universal. The fear of being hunted, the fear of betrayal, the fear that what looks familiar may not be safe. And this fear is timeless. It belongs to all cultures, all people, all times. This is why the Skinwalker legend has not faded. It adapts. It survives. Just like the creature it describes, between science and spirit. In the end, the theories cannot agree. Psychology says it is imagination. History says it is symbolism. Belief says it is real. And the people who whisper in the desert at night know the truth. Whether myth or monster, the Skinwalker is alive. Alive in fear. Alive in silence. Alive in every shadow that moves just beyond the firelight. The story of the Skinwalker is more than legend. It is more than fear. It is a reminder of the shadows that follow humanity. A reminder that the line between human and beast, good and evil, natural and supernatural, is thinner than we imagine. What we have seen how the Navajo speak of them with silence. How to name them is to call them. We have seen how Skinwalkers are born of betrayal, of broken taboos, of paths so dark they strip away humanity itself. We have seen how they walk in the desert, in the shape of animals, with human eyes that chill the soul. We have seen how families tell stories of voices in the night, of knocks on the door, of cries that do not belong to the living. We have seen the fear that keeps the legend alive. What they represent. The Skinwalker is not only a monster. It is a symbol. It is the fear of betrayal. It is the fear of the familiar becoming strange. It is the reminder that evil is not always an outsider. Sometimes evil comes from within, from neighbors, from family, from ourselves. And that is what makes the Skinwalker terrifying. It is not only a creature of the night. It is a mirror of human darkness. Why the mystery endures. Legends fade. Stories are forgotten. But not this one. The Skinwalker remains because it is more than story. It is warning. It is taboo. It is fear that protects. Even today, among the Navajo, the legend is alive. It whispers in the desert wind. It hides in the cry of the owl. It watches from the eyes of the coyote at the roadside. It follows. It waits. A question without answer. So, what is the Skinwalker? Is it a witch? A shapeshifter? A demon? Or is it fear itself, given form by shadow and silence? The answer depends on who you ask. For skeptics, it is myth. For historians, it is symbol. For believers, it is real. And for those who live in the deserts of the Southwest, it is more than real. It is near. It is listening. Perhaps we will never know the truth. Perhaps the Skinwalker will always remain in the shadows, half seen, half believed. But one thing is certain. The legend lives. The fear lives. The silence lives. And the Skinwalker will continue to walk in stories, in whispers, in the desert nights where the wind carries voices that are not human. If this story has stirred your imagination, if the mystery has haunted you, if the legend of the Skinwalker has made you wonder what walks in the dark, then help us keep these stories alive. Give this video a like, subscribe to Voices of the Earth, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the ancient voices we share here. Your support allows us to bring forgotten legends back into the light. Now we ask you, what do you believe? Is the Skinwalker only a story? Or is it something more? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Share your stories. Because every voice matters. Every story matters. And together, we keep the voices of the earth alive. Thank you for watching. And remember, do not whistle at night. Do not answer the voice that calls your name from the darkness. And never forget, some legends walk among us still.